He wanted people to know that he is this terrible, notorious criminal.
He found someone that was wicked and willing.
He was testing her, saying, will you still be with me even though I do these terrible things?
Somebody.
911, what's your emergency?
Hello, police. Yeah, my daughter and her husband are missing. We've been looking
On
for...
February 16, 2006, Melissa Barl's worried father calls the New Baltimore police.
We were notified by the female's parents that they had not heard from her during the day, and they had always made contact with her either by phone or in person virtually every day.
And call the...
He and his wife are particularly concerned because their daughter is expecting a baby.
Hi, this is Scott. There was some
And their son-in-law left a disturbing message on the answering
Yes,
machine.
everything's okay. I'll call you.
She was having difficulty with the pregnancy, and he was taking her to the hospital.
They call all the local hospitals, but draw a blank. Finally, they go to Melissa's house, only to find a note also suggesting they went to the hospital.
If you could just go by and do a courtesy check.
Then they called the police department because they felt something was wrong.
The dispatcher sends 2 officers to investigate.
Officers approached the residence, saw the note, checked the door, found that the door had been broken. The inside of the house had a lot of construction debris around it and a lot of bags of garbage and boxes of garbage. In the bathroom, we did find some blood splatter in there. Also a very strong odor of bleach, which indicated to us that somebody had tried to clean up possibly a crime scene.
That suspicion is confirmed in a room the Barls have been converting into a nursery.
One of the officers moved a pile of debris and saw feet. We slowly removed that debris and located 2 bodies that had been wrapped up and duct-taped, almost as if they were in mummy form. The homicide of the Barls was like a helter-skelter scene. The male had been beaten pretty badly. He was tied up with an extension cord. He had a rag shoved in his mouth. It was duct taped. He had some severe lacerations to the top of his head. He also had a belt around his neck. And then he was wrapped in this plastic and then duct taped. Probably 2/3 of the body was duct taped. The female, she had not nearly the trauma to the body. However, you could tell that she had been probably suffocated and by choking. She had been also wrapped in plastic and duct taped.
As the bodies are taken to the morgue, Detective Stevens' team begins to process the crime scene.
I did know them a little bit. I knew that they weren't drinkers, and the first thing that grabbed my attention was in a box in the kitchen was a 6-pack of empty beer bottles.
But that wasn't all. A broken gun stock, several used syringes, and receipts from a nearby CVS. One, for duct tape, is time-stamped at 3 o'clock that morning. Some personal items are also missing.
Pieces of ID for both the victims, birth certificates, bank books, a small personal safe, their vehicle.
The medical examiner confirms the bodies are those of Scott and Melissa, and they were killed earlier that morning. Both were strangled by a belt and suffocated with a plastic bag placed over their heads. Scott was also savagely beaten. And Melissa was 10 weeks pregnant. To investigators, it looks like the work of a psychopath.
The hallmarks of a psychopath are they tend to be very impulsive, they tend to have histories of criminal activity, they tend to be very irritable and easily excitable, quick to anger, and in particular, they lack empathy.
Police learned the Barrels had no obvious enemies, and there are no clues as to why they were killed in such a brutal way.
They just purchased this new home here and were actively working on that every day to make it their dream home. They were ecstatic about Melissa being pregnant and having their first child, as were the grandparents.
Friends and relatives were proud of what they'd achieved.
He held a manufacturing job. She worked at a grocery store, and they went to church every Sunday. They just appeared to be your normal couple.
Detectives take the receipt found at the crime scene back to the nearby CVS. Just an hour after the murders, surveillance video catches someone buying duct tape. Police believe it is the same tape used to mummify the bodies.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's not a lot of activity there. We actually view this person of interest walk in the front door on the heavy side, maybe 5'6" or 7 inches tall. Talks to the teller. They show her where this duct tape is. She goes there and picks up a couple rolls.
Police go public with the video.
The best thing for us to do was to put this on the media and tell them this is a person of interest in a double murder here in New Baltimore, and anyone that could identify this person, please call us. We received a tip from a gentleman in Lapeer County who said that he was sure that that woman was Samantha Bachinsky, his girlfriend's daughter. He said the sweatshirt that she was wearing is something that she wears almost every day, and he was positive it was her.
Police run a background check on 19-year-old Bachinsky, but nothing shows up.
We knew that because of the violence of the crime, that there was more than just one person. You know, we suspected at least one more, and more than likely a male.
There are real fears the murderers could be out hunting for new victims.
We knew that we were dealing with some people who would not hesitate to kill again. And that was our big concern.
In February of 2006, police in Michigan are investigating the brutal murder of a young married couple.
New Baltimore is a quintessential sleepy town. It's right on Lake St. Clair. Kind of has a maritime feel to it, but it's not real upscale. There's small little houses, but it's a nice, quiet community where nothing happens. The murder had a huge impact, and it shocked everybody.
Every business up and down the street had a sign, some sort of a memorial to Scott and Melissa, words of encouragement to the family.
A sales receipt found at the crime scene leads investigators to Samantha Bachinsky. She was born in 1986 in Imlay City, a small town north of Detroit, where she lived with her mother and younger brother.
She grew up in a rural area. She come from a troubled home. Her father had been incarcerated for a sex offense.
He was still in jail when Bachinsky, an honor roll student, graduated from high school.
I remember she expressed sadness because nobody showed up to her graduation party. That was a big accomplishment for her, and nobody came from her family.
She hoped to become a nurse and worked in a senior citizens' home for a while. Bachinsky helped others, but was in need of help herself.
She was just kind of a quiet loner. We did search her bedroom, and we found some pretty dark poetry, and there was a dark side to her.
Police wonder if that dark side is encouraged by her new boyfriend, Patrick Celipac.
Here's a big, good-looking guy that comes by, gives her a lot of attention.
Feels so good around.
He's in his late 20s. She's a young kid, 19. And she was just taken in by him.
Celipac has spent most of his adult life behind bars. He has a lengthy rap sheet that includes robbery, larceny, and parole violations. He also attempted to escape from prison. He was born in 1978 in Chesterfield, Michigan.
He apparently had a very conflicted relationship with his mother.
Listen to you! What am I supposed to listen to? Listen to you going out, drinking, doing drugs? Where are you gonna go, Patrick? Who's gonna support you?
His father was not around, and so he had no adult male to protect him from this woman. He feels helpless, he feels hopeless, he feels powerless.
Where are you gonna go? No, I don't think you can. No!
But as he becomes an adult, then he transfers all of that rage and anger onto other people, in particular onto other women.
When Celipac was 17, his mother moved to Mississippi, leaving him in the care of an older sister. He spent time helping with her 2 young children, but fell into a troubled life full of drinking and drugs.
When Patrick was 18 years old, he committed an armed robbery, and he spent 8 years in prison for that. His family said it affected him. They said he was an okay guy before that, but after he got out of prison, he hated the world. He is a fairly attractive man, and you can figure in prison something happened to him.
Being an inmate is all about power. Who has it, who doesn't have it, who can be exploited, who can do the exploiting. And that can be from the simplest thing of food in the cafeteria, to sexual favors, to sexual assaults, and so forth. And so the tougher you appear to be to your inmates, the more likely you are not going to be victimized, and you will be able to victimize others.
Celipac was released on parole in June of 2005 and began to display psychopathic tendencies.
He is looking for people to exploit, and he's looking for people who will feed his ego. That's part of that psychopathic pattern. You look for people who are actually willing to be victims, willing to be exploited. He found one in Samantha, who readily responded to his attention and his smooth talking.
Celipac had a way with women and often juggled several relationships at one time.
Patrick met Samantha online on a chat room. He was dating another girl at the time, so he considered himself somewhat of a player.
What? You're trying to accuse me of something? Are you sure you were lost? Don't touch me!
A player with a short fuse. He brutally assaulted his first girlfriend and tried to choke her.
2 elements to choking. One is that. It's a physical demonstration that I can't beat you verbally, but I can shut you up. Secondly, there's a lot of excitement in men. Watching somebody die slowly and helplessly.
Never backtalk me again.
Celipac was sent back to county jail.
Patrick Celipac was in for domestic assault. He told us that he'd been drinking, snorting cocaine, smoking marijuana. Had the parole board had a hearing on Patrick Celipac. He would have gone back to prison probably for 5 more years.
But the parole board failed to have that hearing. Instead, Celipac was released on a technicality.
Oh, Sam, it's, you know, I like to spend a lot of time with
For Bachinsky, it was a memorable day, for many reasons.
Yeah, well, since we spend so much time together, that maybe we should spend the rest of our lives together. Will you marry me?
Of course.
And then they got engaged, and they celebrated by going on a robbing spree.
Hands up! You back there, hands up as well. I need you to take them out right now.
They stole some guns from a sporting goods store.
Nobody moves back there. Get the driver's licenses. Box on? Yes. Let's go.
Patrick Celipac also intimidated the employees there. He took their driver's licenses and their ID to psychologically dominate them.
Wait, if you report us, we're gonna come back and find you. Does everybody understand that? Let's go, hurry up.
They ripped off a couple fast food joints, and they were weaving their way through Michigan, kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, robbing places and you know, just having a good old time.
2 days after the bodies of Scott and Melissa Barl are discovered, there's a new development. The victim's stolen car turns up in Detroit.
They left the car there, the flashers on, the windshield wipers running, and the car turned on. In the back seat was a safe. It contained Melissa's pocketbook with her ATM card, things along those lines.
Police find birth certificates, mail, and personal papers, suggesting a potential motive for why the couple was murdered.
They were going to steal the identities of Melissa and Scott Barl.
In February 2006, police in New Baltimore, Michigan, have 2 prime suspects for a double murder. Convicted felon Patrick Celipac and his teenage fiancée, Samantha Bachinsky.
Media sort of turned it into a Bonnie and Clyde type of thing. This young couple murdering people and on the run. Everybody was not only in fear, but they were also riveted to the screen to see when law enforcement was going to catch up with them.
90 miles away in Owasso, the suspects arrive at the home of Tara Bachman, a friend of Bachinsky's. But not for long.
Hey, happy birthday. Yeah. That sounds like fun. Yeah, Samantha and her new boyfriend Patrick are over. Yeah, Samantha Bachinsky. What?
She had found out that they were wanted for murder when she was talking to a friend on the telephone. The friend said, "Did you know that Samantha and Patrick were wanted for murder?" And she said, "I did not know that."
No, you're kidding. Are you serious? No, it can't be them.
She became very nervous and decided that she had better get out of there.
Thanks, bye.
She convinced them that she had an interview at a local motel in Owasso. So the 3 of them drove to that motel.
When they arrived here for the interview, Patrick Celipac and Samantha Bachinsky were very tired and fell asleep in the back parking lot. Tara Bachman went into the Comstock Hotel and told them that Patrick and Samantha Bachinsky were out in a pickup truck in the back lot and that they were wanted for murder.
Put your hands up in the vehicle, both of you guys. Put your hands up. Driver, let me see your hands out the window. Driver.
Samantha was sitting up on the passenger side. Patrick was laying down with his head in his lap, and he was actually sleeping.
Put your hands up where I can see them. Passengers, put your hands up where I can see them. Open up the door with your hands from the outside. And keep your hands up in the air. Turn away from the sound of my voice. Go to your left. Go ahead and cuff the driver.
We got some evidence in the back of the truck.
In the back of the truck is a bizarre package. Another mummified body, frozen solid in the frigid weather.
I mean, he wasn't trying to dispose of it, he was carrying it. And, you know, I think that tells you something about his depraved personality. This was his trophy.
Bachinsky and Celipac's crime spree brings a slew of agencies into the investigation. The truck is registered to a Fred Johnson of Genesee County. Officers rush to his home.
Everything looks normal until the detective goes into the front room. Right on the carpet was about an 8-inch circle that we believed to be a blood stain. At that point, we knew the body in the back of that pickup truck was in fact Mr. Johnson.
Did you have anything to do with the murder of that couple?
No.
Can I get you anything else, Mr. Celipac?
Many times you have one shot to get the interview. And nothing is more condemning than the individual admitting to their act.
But Celipac's not talking.
What did you do? Have you ever been arrested before?
He clearly felt that he was in charge. We wanted to exercise that we were in charge.
There's a lot of mind game that goes on in an interview. They weren't trying to trick Celipac. They weren't trying to lie to him and deceive him because he is far smarter than that.
Would you like some pizza?
What they were trying to do is gain his trust.
Oh, good.
To give him an out that he could say why he did what he did.
I identified real quickly that he was exhibiting some character traits of a psychopath. He thought he was smarter than everyone else. I wasn't going to be able to use normal interview and interrogation techniques on him. He needed some immediate gratification. I told him that this is your opportunity to do the right thing for the first time in your life and tell the truth.
I could use a smoke. I give you a cigarette, you gonna talk to me? One of these fine for you?
Now, normally I wouldn't allow someone to have a cigarette, but I wanted to let him feel like he was in charge, just briefly.
Tell you what, you give me that whole pack, I'll tell you everything you want to know. You'll be famous by 10 o'clock tonight.
Driver!
Triple murder suspects Patrick Celipac and Samantha Bachinsky are in police custody in Michigan. Celipac reveals in detail his crime spree.
They had a plan, and the plan came from Patrick to hook up with a vulnerable male at an alternative bar in order to gain his trust and to have a place to lay their head down for days.
They headed north to a favorite haunt of Bachinsky's, a gay bar in Flint.
Samantha Bachinsky had frequented the Triangle Bar on multiple occasions. She was a very young girl, but they allowed her to go into that bar.
So Fred, how many day?
They met up with Fred Johnson, a lonely divorcee who welcomed their companionship.
He allowed Bachinsky and Celipac to move into that home with him for a few days.
Just the two of us.
They shared stories, they shared some fun.
So that's what, that sounds like a good idea what we can do.
Celipac also began sharing Fred's bed.
Sounds good, yeah.
Patrick may actually be more homosexually inclined than he's perhaps willing to admit. But in any case, the ends justify the means. If I've got to sleep with Fred to keep him involved with us and entrapped with us, then that's what I'm willing to do.
The more people that
Yeah, do you have something to write?
well, that sounds like it'd be.
But a news headline brought the friendship to an abrupt end.
You guys are wanted. You guys killed that couple.
So what, Fred?
Man.
We're not gonna turn ourselves in.
Yeah. Put you up for 3 days.
Go anywhere, Fred.
I was like, I don't want to do nothing to you. I mean, you're a friend of mine, and I mean, I couldn't even imagine hurting you.
This is you.
Celipac turned into the cold-hearted killer he always was. Winford stood up, tried to go out the front door.
I would not be talking
No,
like that.
absolutely. Nobody's coming anywhere, Fred. What are you gonna do with that? Shoot me too? I tell you what, if you guys don't do the right thing, turn yourselves in, I will.
Celipac had him at gunpoint.
Grabbed the front door and opened it up and started yelling. And then my finger just hit the trigger twice. And I think both of them hit him.
Shot him on the front steps in broad daylight, so hard that his glasses blew off the front of his face into the ground.
Then, Celipac claims he dragged Fred back into the house and finished the job by strangling him. Celipac is equally frank about the murders of Melissa and Scott Barrels.
And before I know it, her lips turned blue and she fell to the ground. And when I walked back in the bathroom, and Scott was moving around, I was like, oh, no, now Melissa's not moving, and he's moving.
Patrick's rapid confession to the police is really quite consistent with his psychopathy and his narcissism. He wanted people to know that he is this terrible, notorious criminal, and he wanted to be the one who would tell the tale.
How's it going?
He boasts about how he first met Melissa and began to win her over.
According to police, they met on a telephone chat line.
He visited her at work and soon realized he could manipulate her.
He knew that if he gained a contact with her, that maybe he could figure out the security of the store. So he started stealing from VG's. He actually got a baby stroller. He'd fill the back of the baby stroller with disposable razors, alcohol. He'd sell them to his friends and neighbors. Nobody would question a man with a baby stroller.
Okay.
His theft from the store increased tenfold after he met Melissa.
Naive might be the best way to describe Melissa.
Why should she come over and meet your husband sometime?
She didn't question people's motives like a lot of us would. She believed the best in people.
And he decided robbing her store wasn't enough.
Their whole desire, their whole reason for getting involved with Scott and Melissa, for murdering them, was to assume their identities, to take their money, to take everything that they had built together and move and leave.
Patrick and Samantha pulled up to the Barls' home, and she drove away. Patrick then knocked on the door, nobody was home, so he went to the back and knocked on the door again, nobody answered. And so he kicked the door in and went in, made himself at home. He sat there and, ate, did a lot of cocaine.
What in the world?
I'm a friend of Melissa's. She said I could come over and...
What are you doing here? This is my house.
We'll play some video games. We'll play your favorite game. How does that sound?
What all this?
Come on, man. Come sit down. And I'll explain it. Just we'll play some video games. We'll play your favorite game. How does that sound?
Eventually, Scott came home from his job, and the big mystery is why Scott didn't get angry that he was in his house. Maybe Patrick's ability to win people over.
That night, Celipac went with Scott to pick up Melissa from her job at Fiji's.
Once they got back to the house, Patrick continued to drink and do large amounts of cocaine.
Bachinsky grew concerned when she didn't hear from Celipac and went to the house.
Tell me where those documents are. So you keep them here. We need them right now. Scott, Melissa, I want you to tell me where those documents are.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Your birth certificate, that kind of identification. What do you mean you don't know what I'm talking? Find them right now.
We don't... Patrick, what are you doing?
What am I doing? You're supposed to wait outside in the car.
Then, things got ugly. The Barrels wanted Celipac and Bachinsky to leave. Celipac exploded and forced Scott into the bathroom before he turned his attention to Melissa.
Melissa was screaming and crying, "Please don't kill me, please don't hurt me, I'm pregnant, please don't hurt me, I'm pregnant." And Patrick strangled her with his bare hands.
Celipac blames jealousy for his rage.
Patrick Celipac, when talking about Melissa Barl, described her as someone that he was in love with, and that he eventually became enraged that she didn't love him back, and that was the reason that he killed her.
Meanwhile, Scott's in the bathroom hollering out, "What's going on? What's going on?"
Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to record a new message on the machine and tell everybody that Melissa had complications with the pregnancy.
He convinced Scott his wife was still alive and forced him to record a message and write a note suggesting they went to the hospital.
Call me again later.
They began beating him with the butt of a rifle, and the stock of the rifle actually broke on his head. And it was a pretty bloody affair, and he wouldn't die. I mean, they beat him for a long time, and he just wouldn't die. Patrick then went to the store and picked up some syringes and a 6-pack of beer.
I was gonna shim up with bleach, and I thought that would kill him, like it wouldn't hurt or anything like that, and it didn't work. I didn't know what to do, so I took a plastic bag and I put it over his head, and I just left it like that until he stopped moving.
Celipac sent Bachinsky back to the CVS to buy duct tape. When she returned, they wrapped the bodies and scrubbed blood from the bathroom.
And she said that when she walked into the bathroom to clean it up, that it actually looked like a horror movie.
The answering machine is switched on, and the hospital note pinned to the door.
If you could just go by and do a courtesy check.
Patrick Celipac believed that he could make the families believe that they were actually at the hospital, buy him 2 more days, and that he could actually get rid of the bodies, steal their identities, and sell the home.
I wish I had like some mustard on here or something.
Yeah.
After inflicting endless pain and suffering, the killers were ready to eat.
Are they serious?
I think, though, in Patrick's case, he felt little remorse. It's part of his psychopathic pattern, and so he was hungry and he ate.
As I'm watching and listening to Patrick Celipac lay out the homicides that he committed, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I am really face to face with the devil right here.
In February 2006, Patrick Celipac admits to investigators he has killed 3 people, but tries to minimize the role of his fiancée, Samantha Bachinsky.
During his original confession, Patrick Celipac stated that Samantha was not a participant in most of what was going on.
But as police question Bachinsky, she's more forthcoming.
Samantha Bachinsky was looking for love and looking for companionship. She didn't have any boyfriends, and Patrick Celipac befriended her. She was somebody who would be easily manipulated, and Celipac manipulated her to a degree.
The investigators need to determine how much she was willing to do to keep his love. She, too, describes in detail the murders of Melissa and Scott Barrels. Scott was in another room when his wife was strangled.
He's asking, I want to see my wife, let me see my wife, and all Patrick kept telling him was that she was on the phone.
When Celipac then tried but failed to beat Scott to death, his lover had advice.
Samantha Bachinsky led me to believe that she was the person responsible for coming up with the idea of killing Scott Barrels with bleach. She described herself as having a medical background and school, and she felt that she would be able to kill him that way.
And when that didn't work,
Samantha Bachinsky put a bag over his head and tied a belt around his neck and choked him until he stopped breathing.
Though she may have been initially coerced, I think that she did get into it, that she got excited about it as well, at least momentarily. If she saw Melissa as a rival for Patrick's affections, then killing Melissa would remove a rival. Once that murder was done, then it may well have been that Samantha thought, well, I'm in trouble for one murder, what's one murder more?
Bachinsky could have reported the murders, but chose not to.
That night, after Melissa was dead, but while Scott was still alive, Patrick left the house. He left Samantha Bachinsky all by herself for probably the better part of half an hour. She stayed there, waiting for Patrick Celipac to return.
She had another chance to come clean the following day.
They had planned on returning, picking up this box full of the evidence, and picking up the bodies, taking them out into the woods somewhere, and destroying them by burning it all.
But when Bachinsky drove to the house, that plan quickly unraveled.
We did see her Oldsmobile. But again, at that particular time, we didn't know who that was.
Bachinsky confirms it was her idea to go to the gay bar.
For now?
But she wasn't happy about what happened next.
Patrick and Fred slept in the bedroom while Samantha slept in the other bedroom alone. Samantha testified later that she was jealous because Patrick was spending all his time with this other man instead of her.
When Celipac decided Fred knew too much and had to be killed, police say Bachinsky sprang into action.
Samantha Bachinsky went over, locked the door so Fred Johnson couldn't exit, and when Fred Johnson tried to leave, Patrick Celipac shot him twice, and as Fred Johnson was stumbling out the doorway. Both he and Samantha Bachinsky went outside, drug him back in. Again, Samantha Bachinsky went and got a knife and poked at him. She said he was still alive at the time. And then Patrick Celipac took a belt and choked the life out of Fred Johnson.
Wrapped him up like he would a burrito almost. And he put duct tape all around that as well.
Less than 3 months after he's taken into custody, Patrick Celipac appears in court to face murder charges in the death of Scott and Melissa Barrels.
Correct. For the 20th time, yes.
Patrick Celipac came into court and pled guilty. He just didn't want the circus of a trial.
Celipac is sentenced to life in prison without parole. Samantha Bachinsky is not so eager to go to prison. She pleads not guilty to murdering Scott and Melissa Barrels.
Samantha presented evidence that she was a young, impressionable, someone that was in love with this evil man, that he told her what to do and she did it, and that she was very, very afraid of him and was afraid of what he would do to her, and that's why she did the things she did.
She does not have that defense because she does not leave him when she goes to get the duct tape. She stays with Melissa and Scott when Patrick goes and gets the syringes. Many opportunities for her to escape that relationship, yet she doesn't, which for the criminal justice system would indicate that she is fully capable and culpable of these crimes.
She spent the whole time crying. She was wailing and saying, "I didn't mean to do it," and she apologized to the victim's parents.
She hopes her fiancé will back her up.
I think she thought he could take the fall for the both of them, and she thought he loved her, and that he would do that for her, and that was not the case.
He laughed at the court officer administering the oath. He laughed at the jury, and he looked at the family members, and he laughed at them in the most maniacal, unsettling laugh you could imagine.
He surprises everyone by refusing to testify.
His refusal to testify for Samantha was the final insult to this woman that he did not really love.
In November 2006, Samantha Bachinsky receives 2 life sentences for premeditated murder and 2 more for kidnapping and assault on a pregnant woman with intent to cause stillbirth or miscarriage.
Her intent was not only to commit murder, but her intent was to hide it. If she would have done the right thing then and went to the police, there would have been only 2 murders instead of 3.
In May of 2006, Celipac also pleads guilty to the murder of Fred Johnson and the robbery at the sporting goods store. The judge sentences him to 3 life terms.
He just came into court and frankly surprised even me and said he was going to plead guilty.
He knew he was going to prison for the rest of his life, and he made out like I don't even want to be bothered. I'm guilty.
He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I am remorseful for what I've done. There's a fine line to show emotion when you go through what I go through, sitting in the South Costco.
In May of 2007, Samantha Bachinsky is sentenced up to an extra 75 years after she pleads guilty to the murder of Fred Johnson. Celipac and Bachinsky will never be freed. But if Celipac had not been released by mistake in January 2006, the murders never would have happened.
They set this monster loose into the communities of New Baltimore and Flint.
The public outcry over the parole board error reaches the U.S. Congress and results in a number of correctional staff being fired with new rules put in place.
I don't believe that Samantha Bachinsky would have gone out and murdered anybody had she not hooked up with Patrick Celipac.
And so it's yin and yang. It's one completing the other.
Patrick viewed people as expendable.
The submissive Samantha goes along with that.